bit about, we saw some snow this morning. That was forecasted. I don't know if it was forecasted as much. Have you seen any issues on the roadways? How did crews?
We had crews here. Is it okay to look? I'm sorry. It's so hard.
Yeah, you can address her. If you
It's so hard to look at. No, I don't want to talk. Yeah.
I know it's not natural.
Yeah. Yes, we've had crews here overnight. We did change crews out at midnight. We worked crews from 4 to 12, and then had another round of crews here from 12 to 8. So thankfully, we didn't really receive any calls for ice over the night until about 4:45, and then the most recent round of snow came in. It did kind of cover up our roads, but it was pretty dry snow, powdery snow. Roads that did have quite a bit of traffic on it, it pretty much blew off immediately. But those that didn't, we did see a little bit of packing of that light snow, and we have been applying salt with calcium chloride on it. And as soon as we go through, it's pretty much off once that salt hits it. So that's what we're trying to do right now, and have done since about 5 o'clock this morning. So we do hope that by the end of the day to have the roads back in good condition.
One of the biggest concerns I think right now is the concerns for potholes. I know the interstates are starting to get bad. That's not necessarily your concern. What are you guys seeing on the county roads as far as potholes?
The exact same thing. That asphalt pavement is a flexible surface, and right now we've got the worst set of weather conditions to really kind of to create that situation. You have moisture that gets into the asphalt surface, then you have that freezing and thawing cycle, and it's just creating those potholes. So we, in addition to spreading a lot of salt the last couple of days, we've done a bunch of pothole patching, trying to get those problematic spots taken care of.
Now, with the snow part kind of being over, and the concern is, thawing and refreezing and the ice and stuff like that. What are some of the things that your team is doing to kind of aid in that area?
Like I was saying, we're still putting salt down actively. So every road we're on, we're putting that salt, trying to create that, really to get that barrier on the road, because obviously water freezes at 32 degrees. It's going to be much colder than that tonight. That salt drives that freezing temperature of water down tremendously. So we want to get that layer of salt and brine that we previously put on the road, so that when it does, drop tonight, then that road will then be wet and not freeze up. So that's our hope, is to try to get as much salt on the road today as we can.
Do you know how many gallons you've put down since Monday? How many miles your crews have covered?
We put down about 70,000 gallons of brine the first of the week. And then I would estimate we've probably put somewhere around a couple hundred tons of salt down in addition to that. So yeah, we've thankfully haven't went through a lot of material like we did the previous snow, but we have put down a noticeable amount.
And we're still good as far as inventory pile if we have another event.
We do. Our salt shed holds about 4,000 tons. We used right at 1,000 tons in the previous event in January, and we have replenished that with about 700 tons. We still haven't got the full amount back, but yes, we're pretty much, for the most part, fully stocked and ready should something arise in the future.
An interesting question. Compared from last year's big event to what we're seeing right now, what improvements or process changes did you all make from last year compared to this year? And then two, if you did make those or whatever they were, how have they helped and in what way?
I think for us, really preventative, the brine treatment. We went in and looked at our GIS system and kind of looked at our priority 1 and priority 2 roads a little bit. And, we hadn't had a lot of snow in several years that amounted to much. So we did have a list that maybe needed to be updated. So we've updated that. And a lot of people have seen, and we've heard a lot of reports of, hey, you brined this road and you didn't before. So that really helps to get that residual down on the road sooner. We bought some additional equipment. But most of it was really just kind of the process behind the scenes to make sure the roads we were doing, that we were getting in there and getting it done as soon as, doing it proactively.
So it definitely feels like the right choices were made, right decisions were made as far as what upgrades y'all made and stuff, and they've worked out.
Yeah, we've received a lot of positive feedback about that. It's kind of like anything. Anytime you have that one bad event, you do have an opportunity to think back and look of where you could have done better. And I think we did that. And you're right, we're putting brine down on a lot of roads that we previously didn't. and really more roads. We've been able to, focus our efforts a little bit sooner. Like the past couple of days, we put brine down Monday and Tuesday. So whereas previously we only did maybe one day, so we're putting a lot more brine down. I think we're seeing a lot more benefit of that.
Are you seeing anything this time around that maybe you're like, oh, we may have overlooked this or something?
Not so much. There is some additional equipment we like to buy, but it's just all about budgeting that. So we're hoping to get a little more equipment, but for the most part, really just those few process improvements were where we were at.
Will you have crews working into tonight and tomorrow morning?
We're still talking about that. The guys, obviously, we've had folks here for the past 36 hours. Now they've been rotating at 12-hour shifts, or 8 to 12-hour shifts. Our hope is that we can let some folks go and keep really a much smaller crew of folks just to kind of keep them rested. But right now, that's still a little bit of a game time decision.
Again, just kind of go through, you said earlier about your kind of primary, secondary type roads, just kind of reminding people that, if they feel like they've been forgotten, you're going to get to them. There's just kind of go through that.
For sure. I mean, we obviously, the roads, we prioritize our roads based on classification. And if you live on a very, very busy road, what we call an arterial, you're going to be the first one to get. Those are the ones that get you out onto the state routes and the interstates and things like that. And then obviously we also add locations that have emergency services on those, whether it be hospitals or nursing homes or things that really have critical care issues. We work with the fire department to make sure that their routes are clear. And then we do work down into your collector roads. And then lastly, residential streets. That is something we do maintain those, and we want to provide that service, but obviously we got to work our way to them. And the past couple of days we've been getting those, but certainly we do want to focus efforts on arterials and collectors. But today, with the snow kind of ending, we'll certainly focus on any of the residential areas. And if anybody sees any trouble spots out there still left, feel free to call our office, and we'll have crews here until such time we feel comfortable that the roads are in good shape.
One final question. You gave us a number yesterday for people to call if they notice.
Yep.
Still.
It is 215-5800, and there is somebody that answers that phone anytime. So we had one call last night for ice on Greenwell Road in Powell, and it come in at 3 o'clock. So we dispatched a crew. So anytime, call us, and even if it's in the middle of the night, we'll come out and certainly address the problem.
And you said a couple hundred tons of salt?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay.
I guess what really probably made it easier this time is we didn't have like one of those rain events before this happened. Like the last one we had, it was that kind of rain mixed with snow. This was just more of a snow. And it
was dry snow, which is, one of the things that we also worry about when we are doing snow removal is tree, because if you have a real wet snow, that snow weighs a lot more. It gets on, especially like pine trees and evergreens, it gets on their limbs, and then we have trees fall. And then we have to stop our treatment efforts to get the tree out of the road. So we haven't seen that with this powdery, lighter snow, so that's been a big benefit too.
So are you guys also responsible for clearing trees out of the way if they fall on the road?
If anything in the roadway, we're responsible for. So yeah, if it's a dead animal, we're going to come get it. Okay. So anything that's in the roadway that could possibly impact travel, that's our responsibility. So, but thankfully, no trees, so that's a good thing.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I know someone would have had to deal with it. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I kind of never really thought about that, like what you guys do if you guys run into that problem. So.
Yep. We typically it's either, like I said, it's trees, or unfortunately we do get a lot of strikes with deers and things like that. So we do have to deal with those things as well.